right, we're 5:30, ready to go at the Colerain Township Community Improvement Corporation, February 10th, 2026 meeting. Ms. Klein, if you would go to a roll call. Actually, first I need to make a motion to excuse Mr. McElravy and Mr. Bachman. Actually, do that after the roll call because we have to vote.
Ms. Ulrich.
Here.
Mr. Unger.
Here.
Mr. Wallert.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
And I am here.
All right, now I'll make a motion to excuse Mr. McElravy, who's in some form of township computer training, and Mr. Bachman, who I believe is on vacation.
Out of town.
Out of town. Okay. So there's a motion to excuse those two tonight.
I would second it.
Discussion?
None.
All right, we'll call for a vote.
Ms. Ulrich.
Yes.
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I vote yes.
That passes 5-0. Now we go to the portion of the meeting where we talk about re-electing the officers for this version of the C.I.C. We have up for election this evening president, vice president. We have appointment of members, township official members, secretary, treasurer, and executive director. I think the easiest way to do would probably be to take this one at a time. If anybody has any nominations for election of president, those will be entertained now.
Oh, I elect you again. You do a good job.
I'll second Kathy's motion for Matt Wallert.
All right, well, I will accept. Thank you. Are there any other motions?
None. None.
Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for a vote, but I will be abstaining myself.
Can you do that with a 5?
Yep.
Ms. Unger. Sorry, Ms. Ulrich. I was looking at
That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Yes.
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Abstain?
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I vote yes.
That passes 4-0-1. All right, we have now vice president and current vice president, I believe is Mr. Unger, right?
I will nominate Kathy Ulrich to be vice president.
I was going to nominate you again.
I'll nominate Kathy Ulrich. Would you second that, Matt?
Yeah, I'll second that for Ms. Ulrich, if she chooses to accept.
It's okay. Yes.
All right, any other nominations?
None.
Hearing and seeing none, we'll call for a vote on that.
Ms. Ulrich.
Yeah. What do I abstain?
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I vote yes.
All right, we have appointment of members. Okay, I think, is the list the same for, no, the only one is Mr. Bachman, right?
Correct.
All right, so at this point, we have, I will motion to appoint Mr. Bachman as an at-large member of the C.I.C. Are there any seconds?
I'll second.
We have to appoint all four at once, okay. Okay, so it's a 2-year appointment. This is for David Miller, Jeff McElravy, Maggie Klein, and Tim Bachman. I will motion to appoint all four to an additional 2-year term.
I will second Matt's motion.
Any comments?
None.
Call for vote.
Ms. Ulrich.
Yes.
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I vote yes.
All right.
But I abstain.
I think we're okay.
I think either way is fine. Now we have secretary. Ms. Klein currently serves in that position, correct?
I nominate Ms. Klein to be secretary.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
None.
She does a fantastic job, so we'll call that to vote.
Ms. Ulrich.
Yes.
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I will abstain.
All right, and then we have executive director, and I believe that has been in the last several terms, Mr. Miller, right?
You want to do treasurer? Treasurer?
Did I skip one?
Yeah, treasurer.
Treasurer is the last 4 or 5 years has been Mr. McElravy. Are there any motions at this point?
I will nominate Mr. McElravy.
I'll second Kathy's nomination.
All right, any discussion?
None.
Hearing and seeing none, we'll call the vote.
Ms. Ulrich.
Yes.
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I vote yes.
All right. Now we have election of executive director, which has been Mr. Miller, I believe, since he's been with us. Has that been 2, 3 years?
4.
4. How about that? Pretty soon you'll be at 6, 7.
I nominate Mr. Miller to be the executive director.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion?
None.
All right. We'll call for a vote.
Ms. Ulrich.
Yes.
Mr. Unger.
Yes.
Mr. Wallert.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
I'll abstain.
I vote yes.
All right. And that passes 4-0-1. Congratulations to all, and thank you for your service. As we continue, we have an approval of minutes. I don't know if, Mr. Miller, you're going to tee those up for us?
Those were distributed via email, I think, over the weekend. And so our meeting was end of December, closed out the year. We did not meet in January, and so I think that's worthy of acceptance.
All right. As you've heard, you've been provided those meeting minutes not inside the board packet, but separately via email. Are there any motions at this point?
I will motion to approve the minutes.
I will second Kathy's motion.
All right, a motion's been duly seconded. Any comments, questions, changes?
Thank you for putting those minutes
Yep.
together.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and call the question.
Ms. Ulrich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Vote yes.
All right, and we have two rather more meaty new business items. The first item letter A, is a motion authorizing adoption of an investment policy. I believe Mr. Miller will tee this up as well, but we have, for the first time in quite a while, some funds available in the C.I.C. account, and we want to have a policy on how that's invested and used so that we get more, I guess, than a passbook savings, but we're not actually buying, options on the market, so.
That is correct. So we do have cash from the sale of various properties that have been given to the C.I.C. And so the Colerain Township has an investment policy, 2.11 in our policy book, and I'll just review those briefly because these are the same principles that we will be using to invest these cash monies. Clearly, the goal is to maximize the returns of the township's excess cash balances that's consistent with safety of those monies and with the desired liquidity of the investments. And so those three objectives, safety, liquidity, and then ROI, are primary, so that we would have those funds available if the C.I.C. had a purpose for those. And so it's my understanding that the same investment advisor that invests for the township will be doing this for the C.I.C. as well. And so that the investment policy is in your packet, and the recommendation would be to approve.
So just to make sure that this is clear, this will be identical to the actual township policy.
Correct.
I think things get a little bit complicated when you have different policies. It's good to have it word for word. Are there any questions or motions or?
I motion we authorize the adoption of the investment policy as described by the executive director.
I'll second. Do you know who, I'm just reading this, who our investing company is?
Red Tree.
Red Tree, okay.
And what do you know? I'm catching off guard here.
It's the last one, okay, I'm sorry.
Is that, do you know what kind of percentage we've been getting?
I do not. That would be Mr. McElravy.
Okay.
I think, Mr. McElroy, we made quite a bit of interest on the last set of investments we had, correct?
I'm sure it's,
Yeah, they've done very well for us.
yeah.
No, for some reason, I think it's in the 7-ish kind of range.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
None.
All right, we'll go ahead and call for a vote.
Ms. Ulrich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
I vote yes.
All right, passes 5-0. Then we have an interesting, I kind of looked at this several times to make sure I was reading it right. A motion authorizing the executive director to accept donation of property located at 10547 Pottinger Road and to execute all documents as necessary. I think the board has been provided with the auditor's view. It's front and back because it's actually two parcels. There's a single-family home of, some 900 square feet and approximately 7 and some change acres of land that come collectively with the two parcels.
It has a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath home, basement that's partially finished out, has a 1-car garage. The house sits on 2 acres, and then the property that is north of it that runs along 275, that's 5.844 acres. So those two together, that's undeveloped acreage. Apparently at one time there was some farming that was going on some of this property. A couple of notes is that there is an above-ground fuel tank that was used some time back for diesel when it was actively farmed. I have inquired about any issues with that, and there's nothing that is known. Secondly, there are 2 deed restrictions that come with this, and they are included in the donation agreement that has been signed. We're currently in the 60-day due diligence period, and the deed restriction would be no commercial use allowed. And then they've also asked that there's no development of the 5 acres. There is a creek that runs through it that could complicate that development, but there's also some wildlife that was requested to be preserved. So, with that, again, during the due diligence, I would recommend that we would get a home inspection during this period and see what that turns up. If there's anything related to the fuel, then we could pursue some other kind of phase 1 environmental analysis if that was desired.
Yes, most whole house inspections won't, test the soil, so we'd have to get a certain, and we don't need.
Right, they wouldn't test the soil.
Do we have to put a phase 2 inspection before we accept this property?
Well, the phase 1
Phase
would,
one.
I think, would give us an idea if there's any kind of fuel problems. But I think once the snow clears, I think we could probably get a better sense of
Okay.
what that looks
How long
like.
did it take us to get the phase 1 on the other properties?
I think it was probably about 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, so
on
we
Station
can make
26.
it contingent upon a whole house inspection
Mm-hmm.
and a phase 1.
Okay. Well, okay, are you wanting to go ahead and do a phase 1 for $2,500, or?
I think that we already know the situation, that there's an above-ground diesel tank, and where if we're gonna put it on the market and sell it, it just would behoove us to know what we're gonna be getting into. I don't know. Do we get it and then have to do it, or?
Well, let's look at it holistically. Has there been I guess, there hasn't been a title search yet, or we have?
That's included in this due diligence period, so
Okay.
as soon as we accept the property, then we'll ask our law director to do a title search along with requesting the home inspection.
And will that catch any liens?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I know sometimes that there's a delay in filing a lien. Has anybody been in the home or on the property?
I have been in it and walked every room. It feels like somebody has moved out. They have taken all of the furniture from some rooms, and they've left all of the furniture in some rooms. There is still a considerable amount of personal property that's in the house. There was someone recently, apparently, in the house, based on footprints in the snow.
So is the heating system on?
I am not sure. I know that the utilities are on.
Okay, just so it's over 50.
It did not feel
Okay, no broken pipes or anything?
right. I didn't see any. We didn't see any kind of concerns that there could be major issues. But I think that's
When
why
did you go through, can I ask? What date did you go through?
today.
Oh, today, so it would have shown any broken
Yes.
pipes to it?
And is the property secure now?
Yes, it is.
So during this due diligence period, now, this has now been broadcast to the several million people that watch this, that may or may not know that this is a vacant property. Is there a way to kind of lock it down even further so that utility copper and stuff don't get?
We could inquire of that. I don't know what more we could do. I mean, it's double bolted in the front.
Is it contiguous or the 5.5 attached, or the 5 attached to
Yes,
this?
My
it is.
question.
It is contiguous.
And is there any requirement that those parcels would be combined?
We could make that part of it. They are currently not.
Sell them just to,
Yeah.
although the 5 acres has a
Deed restriction.
stipulation that it would never be developed.
Correct. Yes, that would be in the deed restriction when we sell
And
it.
is that, and you might know this, Kathy, is that house on a sewer or on a septic tank?
That's all septic over there, isn't it? Unless it,
It should say on the
Is it on that?
Miranda thing, I think, shouldn't it?
Anyway, you'll look into that also.
Yes.
So if it can't be developed at all, the 5 acres, what are we looking to do with that part?
it's not on, it has to be on a,
I would propose that we would sell it with the house.
Okay.
I don't see any use in us holding it for any reason, and the new homeowner would have use to it. And maybe they could farm it.
And that deed restriction will continue irregardless of who the owner is.
Yes.
If it is on septic, we should do a septic inspection too.
Okay.
Because those can be $30,000 to $50,000.
So we have the value from the auditor. Do we have an idea what the market value is?
Well over 200, I think.
Yeah, one realtor that I spoke to said that it could probably pull 350. It's gonna need a little bit of work, but, you know, we're selling it as is. So it's taxed right now at about 250.
So if there was a problem with the above ground fuel, what kind of remediation is done and what kind of cost is associated? I mean, is it, because we've got a pretty big margin for error here, getting it for zero.
I think we would know that before he accepted it. We're just directing him to look
That is
into
correct.
it.
Before we accept it, we could request that be cleaned up. Or we could, or we could choose to do it
See what it's
based on
worth.
the price. But we have this 60 days to do our due diligence.
I guess my overall point is that there's probably going to be things that aren't perfect on it, and that's why it costs zero.
Yeah.
And that gives you a pretty big range.
So the couple's retired. They've moved into a retirement community that's nearby. And our first interaction was with them relative to a vacant property.
I recall that from about a year and a half ago, yeah.
And so as they worked through that and trying to find a way to properly get it registered, he just decided, I really don't need the money. I don't need to sell it. Why don't I just give it to the township and you can, let somebody buy it and live in it. So that's the approach we're taking at this point.
I think it's very generous, and I want to thank them
Yes.
very much.
Absolutely.
Very, very nice individual.
Are there any other questions, comments?
And none from me.
All right, so we've talked about accepting this with several stipulations. The stipulations, home inspection, but now I guess Ms. Ulrich is talking about a phase one.
No, a septic inspection.
Sorry. Yeah, a septic, and I just wanted to run it by you, since we already know there's a diesel tank that's been on this property for multitudes of years, if it's worth doing the phase one now, or wait till we put it on the market and do it then. If it was worth it to do it now, or do it when we put it on the market.
Well, that's why I was trying to get a ballpark idea of if it does need remediated, what are we looking at? 10, 50, 100,000? Do we have any idea of a ballpark?
No,
How big was the tank? How many gallons did it hold?
I thought he told me it was 500 gallon,
I would
but I could be wrong.
go ahead and allow you to research all that and make a determination if we're going to accept it or no thank you it.
Okay?
So do we want to make this subject to a septic inspection in a phase one?
Absolutely.
All right, so at this point, I'd entertain a motion for, let me get the wording right here, to authorize the executive director to accept donation of property located at 10547 Pottinger Road, to execute all documents as necessary, including a phase one and environmental and a septic inspection.
I'll second Matt's motion.
All right, any other discussion?
Question.
Yeah.
Do we want to add the home inspection on that as
Yes.
well?
Yes, I thought that,
Home sector, phase one. All three.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to be clear, that's authorizing the executive director to accept the donation with the addition of a phase one environmental septic inspection and a home inspection. Title search is already part of that due diligence. I think that we don't need to add that per se. And so I had a motion by myself and a second by Mr. Unger. Is there any other discussion?
None.
We'll go ahead and call that for a vote.
Ms. Ulrich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And thank you to, I know I'm going to butcher the last name here, Jurgen? Mr. Or is it Mr.
That's his first name.
Okay, Mr. Slopak.
Yes.
Slopak, okay. Good old German name, Jürgen Slopak. All right, are there any other motions, concerns, or open discussion for the good of the cause?
None from me.
None here?
All right, so at this point at 5:50, is there a motion?
I motion we adjourn the CIC meeting at 5:50 PM.
I'll second.
All right, we will call that for vote.
Ms. Ulrich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
I vote yes.
We are adjourned 5:50.
And our
Thank you
next
very
meeting-
much.
Our next meeting will start at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock in the evening on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, I'd like to call this meeting of the Colerain Township Board of Trustees to order. Mr. Baker, if you would please call the roll.
Ms. Orich?
Here.
Mr. Unger?
Here,
Mr. Waller?
Here.
and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For a moment of meditation, I would ask the Lord that He would keep all of our safety services personnel safe, the ones who've been with us forever and the new ones that we are about to swear in this evening. Thank you. And Mr. Reckbach.
Yes, thank you, Board. The next item is our moment of positivity. So as a reminder, this is something we're trying to do each month to recognize a positive person, program, or personnel from our community. And in this case, we're recognizing a gentleman known as Ryan Slattery. So Ryan unfortunately had some spinal fusions and was kind of out of commission for a little while and took it on himself to be a litter champion in our community. While on his road to recovery, he bagged over 100 bags of trash just from what he was able to find on the side of the road in his neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. So wanted to take a moment to recognize the positive contributions that Ryan's bringing to our community and thank him for all that he's done.
I want to double thank you. I love that.
And thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, fantastic, thanks.
Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Board. I would ask the Board for a motion for the approval of the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting held on January 13th, 2026.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from January 13th.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
None for me.
Hearing none, Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Reckbach.
Yes, for the next two items are public hearings and their associated resolutions. The first item is a public hearing related to Colerain Township case C.Z.C. 25-13. This is a text amendment to revise standards related to short-term rentals. I'd recommend opening the public hearing, and then we will go through our new process, allowing staff and then regular public comments associated with that.
I'll motion to open public hearing CZC-25-13, Colerain Township Zoning Commission requesting a text amendment to review standards related to short-term rentals.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Now we'll ask David Miller, our Development Director, to give a brief overview of this item.
Good evening, Board. One of the things that we have been doing over the last year is reviewing our zoning resolution and finding ways that we can make it more efficient, more cost efficient, of course, to our residents and businesses alike. On this particular item for short-term rentals, also commonly known as Airbnb, bed and breakfast, those are the way they show up currently in our zoning resolution. We have a process right now of registering our long-term rentals, which would be 30 days or longer. So that's our rental homes. Those are being managed through our Property Maintenance and Code Enforcement Division under our Police Department. And it seemed prudent for us to get those two categories of rentals in the same place and their oversight. And so what this this text amendment would do is place the short-term rental registration under the police department with the long-term rentals. So it just puts them in the same place.
So once again, they're just going to have to.
There's a $50 registration fee.
To put
Right.
it as a rental, just as all the other rental with the
That
short-term and
is
long-term.
correct.
Okay.
So we have very few short-term rentals.
Right.
in Colerain Township. It's not a problem for us. It has been in some places where there's high demand, like over the Rhine in the city of Cincinnati. There's high demand for those places and all the activities that they have down there. It's just not an issue, and we think that the police department could very easily manage those together.
And one of our biggest complaints was when there was a short-term rental in a neighborhood and all the parking spots were on the street. So that was a complaint from some of our residents, correct? Now this is addressed in this,
Well, we are not,
going to address any of,
we are not creating parking restrictions.
okay, we're not going to do that.
No,
Okay.
and again, we have not had complaints of late
Of late.
for short-term rentals. So those either fixed themselves or they've moved on and done something else. But it's not a problem, and we think it's just best to have code enforcement and the police managing this under the same banner.
Okay,
Literally, last time I checked this, maybe 8 months ago, there were only like 4 or 5. I don't know if that's, but I think this is also good for the owner themselves, because I've been told there's some instances when people may take advantage of the short-term rental, and it's nice that the police would have them on the radar. I think it's protection for the owners. In the case, so VRBO and Airbnb, you can get them for more than 30 days. Does it then go to a different category? Does it remain, since the lion's share of business is done short-term?
I think under the case where they were renting over the 30 days, I think that's, again, where police department would manage that process to say, and we're going to transfer you over here. They're still going to be the ones that are going to be responsible, and I think that's helpful because they have staff that's dedicated specifically for the long-term, and then this will be the short-term as well.
That's perfect. I don't want them in 2 different hands. I want them in one hand so that they have a full picture. So that's good.
So this text amendment is to the zoning resolution, and then in a coming month or two, then law director is drafting the language that is going to create the framework for code enforcement and police to manage short-term rentals. So that'll be before you as well, as a resolution.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this specific issue? I see no one.
I will motion to, is it appropriate to motion to close the public hearing then?
Close the public hearing and then take action
All right.
after.
I'll motion to close public hearing CZC-25-13, text amendment to revise standards related to short-term rentals.
I'll second.
Any discussion on closing the public hearing?
No.
Hearing none. Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The next item is a resolution to either approve or deny case CZC 25-13.
I'm going to motion to approve case CZC-25-13, zoning resolution text amendment to revise standards related to short-term rentals.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The next item is the second public hearing of the evening. This is case CZC 25-16. This is a text amendment related to charitable donation containers. I would recommend opening the public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing CZC-25-16, text amendment to revise standards related to charitable donation containers.
I'll second Matt's motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
All right, so we had probably 2-3 years back, we had some issues with these containers. They would just pop up. The owner would just throw them on a parking lot somewhere at the mall or at Stone Creek. It just ended up with a collection of donated materials that ended up outside the bin. And it became just kind of a dumping ground for something that somebody didn't want anymore. And maybe there was altruistic rationale that somebody might want this, but nothing could go in. And so we created, I think, a very good framework for management of the placement of the container, as well as a registration. And so it's a minimal registration. If the owner of the bin has to pay and face penalties, they have a greater incentive to manage it properly and keep it from becoming a problem. And we have not had problems that have been long-term. Certainly, over a weekend, somebody might drop something off that didn't fit in, and it has to be picked up on Monday, but that has been very far and few between. So what this is doing is just clarifying the definition of where those bins can locate and to institutional uses. Residents are not allowed, and so that institutional, I think, is what's going to be key here to be able to allow those on churches or school properties. Those are the ones that are benefiting from a relationship primarily between the owner of the bin and the property owner. So still have to have permission. There still has to be a contract that's submitted to us, but I think this is a good process and it's working.
I think it's worked extremely well.
It has. We have very few.
Is there a motion to open a public hearing?
Yeah, it's open.
We have to ask if anybody wants to be.
Is there anyone in the crowd that would like to speak to this specific issue? And seeing no one,
I'll motion to close CZC 2516, public hearing on text amendment to revise standards related to charitable donation containers.
I'll second it.
any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Next item is a resolution to approve or deny case CZC 25-16.
A motion that we would approve case CZZ 2516 zoning resolution text amendment to revise standards related to charitable donation containers.
I will second that.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a host of questions. I hate these things. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. People use them as a dumping ground. I hate the idea of bringing them back. So I understand this would be for institutions defined as churches and schools.
Correct.
What else would be an institution under this definition? Would there be any?
A parking lot, say, at Ollie's.
Well, I would classify that as a commercial establishment.
So, yes.
Then the institutional use would be your churches and schools.
Okay, so that's what, we're refining it to those two areas.
No, I think the current language, we're adding
Oh, we're adding,
institutional
okay,
use
okay.
and expanding it to that so that we can add schools. That's really the purpose in this. It's already allowed on commercial lots and property.
But must be registered.
Yes, they have to be registered. I think we've done a really good job through code enforcement and zoning together of being able to identify where they are, manage that. And so it really has not become a problem.
How many registered do we currently have?
Ask that question.
I think there's 3 registered.
Okay, and this,
And then this, Northwest Local Schools is wanting to add them to their properties as well, to some of their schools. So that's why we were adding.
and they want to do this, and this is really where I'm a little bit more approachable about this. They want to do this for fundraising efforts.
That is correct.
And so who do we hold accountable at the end of the day if somebody dumps?
It's the property owner. So the school is the one that's going to be,
West School
yes,
System.
they've allowed this, and so, now, in the future, if there is a bin that is a common problem, we would reserve the right on their annual renewal to refuse to renew and deny that.
So have we because I don't see a situation ever where where one school is a wildcat school and there's somebody that's just messing up for them. I don't see us ever finding the school district. It's just not going to happen.
It's not.
Even though that's kind of in the language, but it would just be we're going to take it away.
Correct. And then they lose the revenue, so it behooves them to manage their property. I mean, it's not much different than other refuse ending up on their property. Somebody dumping tires. They're going to go out and get the tires. So if this becomes a problem, I would imagine the process is they call the leasee that says, we're continuing to have problems with people dumping because they can't get their materials inside. You're not emptying it often enough. And they might cancel the contract. We might do that as well on their annual renewal.
So on their license, will it indicate who's the actual owner of the bin?
Yes.
Because we had some bad actors who Nobody knew who they were.
Right, we
And
had-
they dumped things out.
We had that problem at Stone Creek. And,
Yeah.
and even the phone numbers on the front, you couldn't reach anybody.
Right, it was some LLC owned by another LLC, owned by another LLC in Chicago. That's main source of income was COVID money, the last time I checked, and the whole thing smelled like a ripoff. I understand what the school district's trying to do, and thank you for answering my questions, because this is, it's frustrating to see these things that are used for donations and people use it for their trash because they don't want to wrap a couch up on the first of the month and leave it to Rumpke or something like that. That's not what it's for. It's not what it's intended for. It's intended to raise funds for the school district. It's intended to be a place for people to kind of give back a little bit. It's not supposed to be your dumping ground.
You never have to second guess what you're thinking, Matt. Yeah. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Weckbach?
Thank you. The first presentation tonight is by Chief Walls to swear in two newly appointed employees.
And it's so phenomenal to see this much support from everybody. Thank you for being here.
I thought they were here for the public hearings.
Sorry, up to 4
I had
employees.
to look on the agenda to see what they might be here for.
Good evening to the board. Good evening to everyone in attendance and those of you watching online. I'm here tonight to swear in our newest career firefighters, and I'd like for Tyler, Jacob, Joseph, and Andrew to come up and join me.
And welcome to our viewers in a faraway state right now that are watching this.
Guys over here. Yeah, there we go. Good enough. Face that way. We got it right. All right, so to my right is Tyler Hughes, far right. He's a graduate of Oak Hills High School in 2017. He served in the National Guard, and he was a 2024 Colerain Fire and EMS recruit class graduate, and he'll be pinned tonight by his father, Kevin Hughes. Next to him, to my immediate right, is Jacob Yan. He graduated from Colerain High School in 2013, simultaneously with the Butler Tech High School firefighting program in 2013. He's been with Colerain since 2013, but he's also worked part-time at a host of other agencies here in Hamilton County and Butler County, so he brings a wealth of experience to us. He will be pinned by his wife, Alyssa, tonight. To my left is Joseph Kabinji. He has a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Industrial Design and Manufacturing from Savannah College in 2014, and a Bachelor of Science in 2021 in Psychology from the University of Cincinnati. And he keeps looking at me, and I think he's trying to analyze me. He likewise is a graduate in 2024 of the Colerain Fire and EMS recruit class. And then my far left is Andrew Spinney. He's a graduate of Elder High School. He likewise graduated in 2024 from the Colerain Fire and EMS recruit class, and he will be pinned tonight by his father, Tony. And then we'll start over here, and each will introduce their families.
My in-laws.
And then Tyler might have a little bit of added pressure because if he acts up, I know his grandfather. Okay, those of you that are going to pin, we'll all go over here then.
Turn them this way.
your right hand and repeat after me, please. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. And the Constitution of the State of Ohio. Abide by the Colerain Fire and EMS. Mission statement. Values. Code of ethics. Standard operating guidelines. Township's policies and procedures. I will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter paramedic and for Colerain Township, Hamilton County, State of Ohio, to the best of my ability. Help me God.
And thank you for picking Colerain Township to work for.
Ohio's #1 fire
I
department.
was just going to say. Helen, do you want to take a group?
Congratulations to all of you. Welcome aboard, and thank you to your families for entrusting us with your most valuable possessions. And we take that charge seriously. So we appreciate that, and thank you so much for your service.
And welcome aboard. We're glad to have you here.
And after they're done signing, you can leave if you want to.
Or you
outta
can,
here as
or you
fast
can
as you
stay
can.
for our presentation on automated license plate readers, which is next on the agenda.
It's riveting information coming up.
We will delay just a moment.
And there they go. Thank you. Hey, we're here to make you have fun.
Nice to see a little bit more purple in the firehouses.
She came in purple just for you.
Of course, I wore blue.
Yeah, of course. Your Xavier blue. St. X.
And when you're ready, Jeff.
Yes, the next presentation is a presentation on our automated license plate readers in the township, and that'll be presented by Lieutenant John Middendorf. As you all remember, we made the decision to purchase some flock cameras last year. We're about 6 months into that, and so we thought it'd be a prudent time to provide an update to the board and community on how that project and process is going.
Welcome, Lieutenant.
Go here. Good evening, Board. Like Mr. Weckbach said, here to give you an update kind of on our usage of the LPRs and talk about some of the successes we've seen with it so far. Just to remind the Board, we actually gained access to the system back in June, and with that we were allowed to start conducting searches and whatnot on the network to help our investigations. It wasn't until July we actually had all of our cameras up and running here within Colerain. So with that, we actually have 22 devices here in use within the township. Let me go to the next one here. So to give a little bit of a background or a little bit of an insight as to how much data this is actually collecting, we were able to pull a 28-day period from earlier this year of the total vehicle volume we see on our cameras within Colerain, and that is actually a pretty large number of about 4.5 million. Those are not unique vehicles. Those are, if you drive up Colerain Avenue and you hit on 10 cameras, that's you're going to be show up 10 times within that number. So the daily average of reads, though, is about 156,000. So, the number of matches, when we talk about matches, we're talking about the hits that we as officers receive by using this database within our shift. So also with this is not unique reads either. If a stolen plate goes up Colerain Avenue and hits 10 different cameras, it's going to show up in here 10 times. However, this is the overall number of matches that we've made for each category. So stolen plate, stolen vehicle, warrants are both felony and violent misdemeanor. In most cases, it will not capture theft, criminal damaging, things like that, because those do not get pushed out to the NCIC database. Missing persons, we've had 11 matches on those also. So our successful outcomes, we've actually been able to attribute the usage of the flock system to 47 arrests. We've recovered 31 stolen vehicles with it. Cases with leads generated, we have 17. That number can fluctuate. That does not necessarily mean that we're not going to make arrests with it, but it also doesn't mean that we are going to make arrests with it. But that means that we can tie flock to 17 different cases where it's actually proving to show a link or a clue, if you will. And then 5 missing persons actually located by using this. One thing I found interesting when I broke down the arrest number of 47 arrests, about 19% of those are juveniles. So all of those juvenile arrests, however, are associated with stolen vehicles, and it should also be noted that none of them are Colerain Township residents. So the other 80%, of course, being adults. Of the arrests, also 27 of those have been Colerain residents, almost 28%, and then non-residents being 72%. The top box you see up in the right corner, arrestees with warrants. Not everyone we arrested had warrants. Also, they did not have Colerain charges. So that kind of breaks down the number of arrestees that actually had warrants versus the number that had original charges from us. And in some cases, it can apply to both, but not in every case.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
So if it's arrested by a warrant, that's a violent felony or misdemeanor for almost all of them exclusively?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Stolen vehicles. Interesting thing about this also, a lot of the stolen vehicles are from outside of Colerain Township. 9 of them originated in the city of Cincinnati. 7 were within Hamilton County. Only 6 were here within Colerain Township. One of those was from outside Ohio, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. The 4 unknowns are actually times where we received the hit as it was leaving Colerain. We were able to radio to the agency it was heading towards and give them a heads up, and they actually were able to stop the car and make the recovery. So with that, we don't have the documentation of where that vehicle was originally stolen from. We just knew it was in Colerain, it left. We told the neighboring jurisdiction, and then they made the arrest and the recovery.
And so this would, it stop a little bit high chase to going after a stolen car just for the next municipality to pick that car up, correct?
It does help to know ahead of time that it's coming towards you. You can kind of get resources
Right,
set up a little bit better to hopefully head off a pursuit.
right.
So this is a list of the charges from those arrests that we've been able to file by using LPRs. The most serious there being aggravated burglary. Can't talk about some of these because they are actively going through the courts. And there are also other cases that we're using these right now that we can't talk about because it is an active investigation. But this is a sample of some of the charges we've been able to file by using it.
And as you and Chief Cordy said, these are just threads. This information is used as a thread for the investigation, correct?
Correct. It's if you will, a breadcrumb
Right.
that gets used in the investigation. It all doesn't hinge necessarily
Right.
on the LPR read.
So I would imagine that what we can't count, which is impossible to count, would be you pick somebody up that has a violent, or you pick up the plate that has a violent felony, and you hand it off to another jurisdiction. That's not going to show in your arrest records because they're leaving Colerain headed to whatever, Cincinnati, and you call CPD.
Right. If we know what the warrant is for and things like that, we may have attributed it within our outcomes.
Okay.
It may have been logged by the officer as being an outcome that we can say was caused by our use of the network. But a little different with the stolen vehicles because we didn't stop the car.
I'm thinking specifically Colerain Avenue, when in 30 seconds you can go from Colerain to Green to City of Cincinnati. I don't imagine that you're always going to have time to get somebody there, or Green to get somebody there. And Cincinnati has, if they're going south has the longest stretch that they may end up picking them up at that point.
Right. So these, I pulled 3 of our success stories, if you will. I know this is a little small. First story being that of 2 teenage girls who were actually runaways. We categorize them as missing. So officer took the report, got forwarded to an investigator. They were able to find out a plate number of a vehicle that they had left in when they ran away from home. He conducted the search for that plate and saw it was actually entering West Virginia. He was able to direct his investigation down that path then, and I guess there were some family members or friends that were believed to be out that way. Further investigation, they ended up finding out that these juveniles were staying at an address in Stafford, Virginia, which is about 525 miles from here. We contacted the local sheriff's office. They responded, and they were able to locate the 2 juveniles and the vehicle. This one is a critical missing adult. This was a gentleman who had made some suicidal statements to family, and he was believed to be in possession of a firearm when he left. He was entered as a critical missing adult in C.I.C, and that tagged his plate in there. His plate actually hit on an LPR as it was headed into Colerain. Officers were able to get into the area. They located his vehicle, him driving, conducted a stop, and actually found out that he was intoxicated at the time. So he was subsequently arrested for OVI. The weapon was recovered, and he was safely located.
And what was the legal reason for stopping him that turned into an OVI? Because you didn't see him swerving or anything, so how would that?
Right. I don't know that specific part of it. I don't know if what they observed or what else led to it. Final one. This is actually a fugitive out of New York City. So our officers received a hit for a stolen vehicle, on Colerain Avenue near Walmart, the southern Walmart down there by Cross County. They searched the area, found the vehicle actually in the parking lot of Walmart with a passenger inside. They made contact with that passenger, who was cooperative and provided a description of who was driving the car. They went into Walmart, found a gentleman matching their description, ended up conducting a further investigation, found out that he was actually wanted for robbery by NYPD, and the stolen vehicle was actually stolen out of New York City as well. So he was arrested on his warrants to be extradited back to New York, and the vehicle was recovered.
In one of the stories that's not attributed to our flock cameras, but to Green Township's flock cameras, the homeowner association in Colerain Township put them at both egresses and ingresses at their subdivision. And it hit that a registered sex offender entered that neighborhood, correct? And we have a great reciprocal relationship with Green Township. They called you guys up and you were successful in arresting this individual, correct?
I think that was the one where he was wanted for failure to register.
Oh, failure
As a
to register,
sex
sorry.
offender?
Thank you for correcting me.
I'm not entirely familiar with that, but I believe that's the one that it's being you're talking about.
Okay.
So that is kind of our update right now on that. Is there any discussion from the?
Last year thank you for putting all that together, I appreciate it. Last year during the discussion on these, I had been contacted by a citizen that was concerned that he got ticket for running a toll booth in Oklahoma, and he had never been there. So his license plate happened to be the same nomenclature as the plate they were looking for. How good are these cameras at differentiating an Ohio plate versus a plate from a different state? Have we run into those type of mistakes, and how have we handled them?
Right. When we receive the hit, it'll tell you what state it believes that hit is attributed to. Our officers have to actually run the plate before they take any action. So if they see that the hit comes back on Oklahoma, they're behind an Ohio tag. They're going to know that's.
But it would at least be enough to lead them to pull up behind that person and get a closer look at the plate?
Sure.
Okay.
So these things work in theory one way and in practice another way. I guess what's been the biggest pleasant surprise and the biggest pain in the neck that you've had so far that you didn't, because I don't think you anticipate these things until you actually see it play out.
I think the easiest way to answer that is if you just go back to the question you asked earlier is you're talking about the individuals that are driving down through our cameras that had warrants for their arrest. I think if you look at just the facts of what was presented by Lieutenant Mindorf, we had 918 warrant hits, but only made 18 arrests for warrants associated with it. So there is a lot of things that are out there that we do not have the ability or the staffing to be able to hit. So if it's an overwhelming number of stolen vehicles, overwhelming number of license plates that are driving around. The reason why you have a stolen license plate on your car is either one, you stole the car and you have the stolen plate, or you're doing not legal activity. So it's eye-opening it's overwhelming the number of hits that we're actually getting. That's for me. That's probably the number one thing. It's crazy.
So do you have a feel as if, I guess at the beginning of this, I would have hypothesized that a lot of these folks may be staying with relatives in Colerain, and maybe I'm trying to read the tea leaves wrong. It seems as if you're getting a lot of transitory people that they're just traveling through. Is that, do you have any idea of?
Majority of our cameras are, and out of fairness, I told Lieutenant Mindorf that I'd take it easy on him and let him do the presentation, and I'd take most of the questions. But if we talk about this and we look at really what it is, the majority of our cameras are on the busiest streets of Colerain, 27. We have Pippin and Compton. We have Galbraith Road. We have, some of the streets that people use to travel north to south, away from the city towards either Butler County or up in Colerain, Fairfield, wherever it could be. I would have to say that I think it's just a byproduct of just travel. We know Colerain Avenue is a very well-traveled road, and I think that's a big aspect of that question.
Yeah, excluding highways, according to OKI's traffic counts, Colerain Avenue is the second busiest road in all of Hamilton County.
Okay. Do you see this data at all changing? I love the data, but it's more important to use it. Do you see this changing any kind of policy or policing method?
So far, everything's going really well for what it is. I will tell you that we can't look back further than 30 days to see the true data amount. So I remember standing in here and telling each one of you we've had 6 million reads or whatever it could be. As you see here, we only had 4.5 million. I think if anything,
the week was snowed out, so yeah.
Right, and we actually were laughing because we were looking at it the day before the snow come. You could see through our LPR hits that it was crazy. The number, it was probably a 25 to 40% increase in vehicular traffic through our hits. I don't know that it's going to change. It definitely is helping with driving down some of the different things. I'm not a criminal, but I can guess some of the things that they do. And it was very well known that there was a void of LPR cameras, flock cameras, in Hamilton County, in the general Cincinnati region, being Colerain Township. And us having these cameras now is only going to help us in the future.
We can't account for numbers of deterrents. It's just impossible to do. But I'm thinking specifically of 980 warrants, which could be 90 people for all I know because it's hits, right?
It could be.
Yeah.
But that's if you're going up and down Colerain Avenue, you're gonna hit that quite a few different times, and you can make some turns, sure. But is that usually the way that I've tried to watch this every 30 days because I try to give that report at this meeting. Usually the hit amount is usually about 50% of that is what the unique number was.
Okay.
So they actually removed that part from our search to be able to see how many uniques, because I guess because I started asking them questions, what exactly does this mean? And they couldn't even answer that to me. So, but that unique number as they portrayed in the past was usually about 50%. So if we had 4.5 million, it was safe to say we had at least 2 to 2.5 million unique vehicles hitting those cameras.
So if we catch a warrant on one of our cameras going towards Cincinnati or something, I wouldn't imagine we'd contact them for every one with 900. But if it's a high profile one,
So there's a couple ways to answer that question. The first one is sure. If it's going to hit, if it goes over towards the central and Springfield Township or different radio traffic, that's going to be well known. But typically, we would key up. Most of the west side neighborhoods are going to hear our radio traffic and know what we're dealing with, and we can easily have that conversation. But there's also a different way to answer it, being that when you have your alerts set for the database, you can circle an area that you want the alerts to hit. So I could circle and include some of the neighboring jurisdictions in there and even get hits from their areas that drives through their camera. That doesn't impact our numbers. It's only from our 22 cameras that those numbers come from, but I could get a greater range if I wished. So they could also know it just through their own setup in their system.
so the last question, and I'll leave you. Thank you for your patience. One of the concerns I didn't voice at the beginning was that this would lead to less discussion between different agencies. It seems like it's bringing a lot more.
It actually works incredibly well.
Yeah.
So it works really well with the investigative side. I mean, I think no matter what you look at, data is king right now, and it's going to get worse. There's cameras here, cameras there, cameras this. I mean, just even watching the news today about the horrible incident that's going on out west, with all the data and the things that are coming, they're openly saying they're going to solve this case through data.
Yeah.
And that is a real statement. They're going to get the break that they need because of data. So our best with knowing that data is out there and something is being captured related to data, if we don't have that ability to search through that data, we're just hurting ourselves in our investigation. So,
But people need to know the data's there, because out in Arizona, they didn't know it until today.
well, yes and no. I mean, there's no expectation of privacy. You're driving on a state-owned with your vehicle with a state-owned plate on the back of it. There's zero expectation of privacy legally. So, and you know,
No, I mean the investigative units in the case out in Arizona. They didn't find out about the videos until today, which is just amazing to me.
I bet they held it, but
Okay.
here nor there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Okay, when I had the radio interview, one of the issues that were brought up by the reporter from Lexington being transparent, where Lexington, you can go online and get a map of all their camera situations, but Louisville will not do it. Now, I did get asked the question, do I know where our cameras are? Well, I know where several of them are, but I do not know where every one is. Do you feel we have to do this, or what's your opinion of that?
I mean, as I was just saying, there's no expectation of privacy as it
Right.
relates to this. So do we have to legally do it? No, we do
No,
not.
we do not.
There are third-party sources of websites.
Right.
Where he told me once, I can't remember what it is,
People
but
on
there's a
Facebook
website.
said
that-
Flock Camera,
it's
and- yeah.
crowdsourced
Right,
website that
crowdsourced,
tells
right.
you where it's at. So that stuff is out there. And let's be honest, it's not a very sightly vision. Like, it's a large black pole with a big solar panel on it. So if you know what they look like, you know what they are.
Because I did get asked the question that it's the same kind of black pole with the solar, and it says you are going 35 miles an hour. Those people thought you could get a ticket from that. And I had, yeah.
Two different
Two different
things.
systems.
Yeah.
And, okay, and the other one, when we talked, I think you said Green Township at approximately 39, and
He's got that number.
yeah, and City of Fairfield has a little over 50. Our first recommendation for a township our size, we were looking at maybe having to have 72.
Yeah, the first recommendation was 72.
And so we have 22. Was talking to Mr. Wetback, as you know, last year we had some discretionary funds, and I think I gave $75,000 towards buying the cameras. I have the 25. I don't know what's left over from and how they can transfer that, if we could buy some more, because I think you said you might need some more in some more strategic locations. So that would be something that I'd like to look into.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and that is certainly, it's only going to help us, because again, data is where it's at. We mostly have focused on the outbound traffic of Colerain, because
Right.
typically when someone they do something wrong, they tend to flee from where they did it.
Right.
So there's quite a few different holes. As you know, Colerain's a very, very large place, and just to go by the data, if we look at our neighbors and look at what's around here and what's known, so City of Fairfield has 60 cameras.
60, okay.
Springfield Township has 35. Green Township has 39. Westchester has 39, and Blue Ash has 49. Yes, we're not apples and oranges, but if we look at just the size of, if we look at those areas and we think about not even the crime, but the amount of people that come through them, we have the least, and we should probably have the most.
Exactly.
There's definitely a need for additional cameras. If we're going to commit to this system, which I would recommend that we do, there is a need for additional cameras.
And right now, because of the situation we're in, we could have a little bit of a special offer that we can do with these cameras now, so it would be a good time if we could buy a few more. Is that correct?
It's always a good time to buy when
I know,
they're
but-
wanting to sell, and they are, so. And I think, can I answer a question? I think Lieutenant Middendorf might have misunderstood your question about the probable cause as relates to why we stopped that individual.
Right.
The fact that the person was a critical missing individual is probable cause alone for us to stop them. We don't need to worry about if there is a traffic violation.
That turning into an OVI?
Nothing, yes. So that right there being the fact that we had credible evidence that told us that this individual's life was in danger, and for us to enter them into the system, into the NCIC system as a critical missing, that alone is us probable cause to initiate contact with them at any time, at any place.
Just because I'm concerned about pulling somebody over and not having a legitimate
No, that's.
legal reason to do that.
No, that's absolutely probable cause, and yes.
And we had discussed that when you get the hit, there has to be some paperwork involved before somebody immediately pulls that.
Yeah, so if we have a hit, what'll happen is we have the hit, they have to verify it through our independent RCIC system to be able to run it. So they still have to run that information to confirm. Even to chase a car, they have to confirm through the system that it is stolen before they do so.
So that's what the whole protocol's in place for that.
So sometime during this discussion over the last 10 minutes, we've probably gotten a hit on one of those cameras.
I would guess.
How does that get handled right now?
Well, it depends. If we're on a call, then whatever it was.
I mean, does
just
that
went
go to
by.
your computer, or does that go to dispatch back there, or
So
where does
you
it
get
go?
logged in through your computer that are in the vehicles. Each officer has a login. They log
Okay,
into
so it
it.
goes right to the police, to the automobile that it's in?
Yes.
And if it was hit on Colerain Avenue and one of our guys was down at Pippin and Galbraith,
They would communicate through their radio traffic.
it would go to everybody.
Yes.
Hey, this
They would-
guy's heading south on Colerain.
Correct.
Heads
And
up.
if we're available and not on calls, we would be able to respond, which is nice because, again, previously you would just find it by luck of running license plate and find a stolen vehicle. Now we have other information giving
So
us
it's,
that.
but my question is, so it goes right out to everybody that's on duty at that moment?
It goes out to whoever signed into the system that's on duty at the
And
moment.
are we perpetually signed in on our,
Our officers enjoy the proactive approach that we have, and
Okay.
they are signed in.
all right, well, I don't have any other comments. Well,
Thank you for putting that together and entertaining the questions.
Thank you.
And the next item will be Mr. Weckbach.
Yes, so this is something that we started last year. This is just a presentation sort of on year-end spending that could be available for reallocation as part of the capital budgeting process. And so in your packet is a breakdown of our major funds and how they performed in 2025. This looks at temporary appropriations compared to final expenditure and final revenues. So as you can see those across the board, none of the departments at this time actually requested supplemental capital to be spent. So really, I'm seeking feedback from the board as it relates to the general fund. Typically, we try to look at putting money toward the capital reserve, and so the general fund performed about $280,000 to the positive. That was our surplus at year end, and so seeking advice or guidance from the board about a motion for a future meeting surrounding potential contribution to the general or the capital reserve.
So I'm a big capital reserve fan. In fact, I pushed to create it, and I think that we should minimum look at I think 2 years ago we didn't have a lot of funds, so I really held out to put in 10 grand just to put in money. I'd like to put in at least half of that 280 of the 140 into a capital reserve.
You're looking at fund number 1,000, the general fund?
No, for the capital reserve fund.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so it says-
100,000 out of the 209 to put it in the capital reserve fund.
Okay, 75% of surplus, 209,000, so you want to put how much of that in the reserve?
Okay, is it 280 or 200?
280 was the total surplus. 75% of that is the 209 number.
575.
Okay. Yeah, half of that, yeah.
I would like, I know Mr. McAravy's not here, but I would like to speak to him to see where he thinks, since he's our money guy, where his first thought process would be for this money.
Sure, I know just from initial conversations, and he's out of town today, so he's
Right.
excused, but we have a firm belief, very similar to Matt, that it's good to continue to fund this when we
Okay.
can. My personal recommendation would be to put as much as we think is appropriate, even as far north as the full 200 to 209,000, since it's there. That way, we're setting that aside so we don't have to issue bonds and debt in the future for capital
And
needs.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
I love that idea. So.
Yeah.
So-
This one- Yeah,
Are you looking for, let's
I
go to the
was
next.
just seeking direction, so at the next meeting, I'll have a motion. Sounds like maybe 200 is a good number to throw on for the next meeting. Last year, we did 500, so.
And the surplus in road funds, is that from operations or our street paving program, or did the bid come in low, or?
It's a combination of things, so, if we have any vacancies, then we have some savings there, or if we have a really light snow season and don't run as much overtime, there's some savings there. On the revenue side, if the gas tax, say, comes in higher than anticipated, that contributes to it. So this is sort of a combination of almost surplus by 1,000 positives, if you were to ask me for where it's coming
Did
from.
we put our road program out for bid?
Yes,
couple months ago, and you're
we're
gonna
planning
come-
on having the contract in March.
Okay, so you can't go wrong trying to get a year ahead on some of these streets. So maybe there's some of the 2027 streets, after we see how the bids come back.
Sure.
That my inclination would be, let's just keep trying to get a little bit further ahead on the road, because, we have a police levy and a fire levy. We don't have a road levy.
We have inside millage that goes to one of our
I know,
roads.
but
Yes.
my inclination would be to see if we can pick up another subdivision, whoever's next on the list. It's a very apolitical thing. I've never told anybody where to pave that, but
Yep.
it never hurts to try to get a little bit ahead on some of these things.
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind for once we get the bids back, as we're kind of prepping the next agenda.
So I don't, what about the fire surplus?
So this year, that means those dollars would just go to fund balance, which, then helps with future needs of the
Push out
department.
another year on a fire levy.
Well, I don't know that gets us another year, but that
Well, it gets
helps.
us, that combined with whatever we do this year,
Sure.
it might push it back another year.
And if there are no other comments, I think the next item will be citizens' address.
And no other comments matter, Kathy?
yep, okay.
Nope.
Okay, citizens address. I did not get any forms to fill out, but is there somebody in the crowd that would like to?
One
address?
gentleman.
I think,
Did you want to speak? If you would come up.
Please approach the podium and state your name and address. I will read the disclaimer that we have. Let me, please be aware that the statements and opinions provided by members of the public during citizens' address do not necessarily represent the views or positions of Colerain Township, nor are they guaranteed for accuracy. The township does not vet, fact-check, pre-approve, or review any such commentary prior to citizens' address, and we give you 5 minutes, and welcome, and if you could state your name and address, please.
My name is Alan Reeves. I live at 3738 Pool Road. I've been there for over 67 years.
I think I spoke to you on the phone the other day.
I did. Thank you very much for your help. I just wanted to compliment the crew, the road crews that cleaned Colerain Township, at least the area that I live in, up. They did a great job. So I want to compliment again and say thank you so much. They really did an excellent job. That's all I have.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's very kind of you, and we partner with the county engineer to do roads like Pool Road, and but working together, we can achieve great things. So thank you.
It went great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that wanted to address the board? And seeing no one, we will move on to administrative reports.
Thank you, Board. The first administrative report will be presented by Fire Chief Alan Walls.
Welcome back, Chief.
Good evening again. Activity report for January of this year. There were 815 EMS incidents. There were 195 fire incidents. We had 31 responses into the Springfield Township Pleasant Run EMS contract area and no responses into West College Hill Golfway. 3 significant building fires, 2300 Walden Glen with a $25,500 loss, 10,200 Chippenham Court with a $6,000 loss, and 3200 Compton Road with a $95,000 loss. In addition, we had 3 searches for missing persons with the K-9 unit in James Riley. Our reported fire loss is $126,500. Property value saved was $8.4 million. Present day, we have a 98% save rate. Our average response time for the arrival of the first unit was 5 minutes and 28 seconds. And first unit on the scene, less than 6 minutes, was 64.88%. You might look at those times and go, But the snow, the cold, and the ice weren't exactly our friend trying to get from point A to point B in January.
So we're going to put a new policy in that a snow plow is going to go ahead of the ambulance?
Well, it did happen once here in Hamilton County.
Yep.
And unless there's questions, that's all I have.
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Hey, Board, next presentation is by Police Chief Ed Cordy.
Welcome back, Chief.
All right. For the month, we responded to 3,779 calls for service, which is about a 9% increase over January of last year. 122 calls per day. We had 408 traffic stops. As you can see, 6 OVIs. Issued 456 citations, made 92 arrests, 133 auto accident reports. I expected that to be a little bit higher. 57 animal complaints that we responded to. We had a drastic decrease in our auto theft somehow, some way, but we'll take it, where we were down to 1 auto theft for the entire year. We had 2 uses of force, 1 pursuit. Our busiest day was Friday, followed by Thursday. And give you a quick update on our hiring with the 3 conditionals that are on the agenda tonight. We'll be up to 62. We did lose 1 officer to another agency in Kentucky over the month. But we have 3 additional hires on the agenda tonight, and we have a couple more coming our way that are looking good. Any questions?
I don't have any.
I read today, Chief, that the attempted robbery at the Kroger in Green Township, that they did catch someone. They have somebody in custody now for that. With the help of the U.S. Marshals, grabbed him. Because I think that was a brazen thing during the middle of the day. If you recall, in January, they tried to, I think, rob the ATM or something.
Yeah, and they had a bunch of staged vehicles throughout where they drove to and then switched cars and did it. It was pretty interesting to listen to on the radio, for sure. But I'm sure they used databases such as Flock to help them get there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next presentation is by Assistant Administrator Mays.
Howdy.
Good evening, Board. Okay, Board, for the month of January, the Public Services Department received 192 calls for service, in which 172 were closed. There were a total of 6,695 vehicles that entered 3 of our largest parks, that's Colerain, Heritage, and Clifford. And then throughout the month, there were a total of 7 weather events, which we know the biggest one was at the beginning of the month. And maintenance staff during this event surpassed any other event in the department's recent history. And I wanted to bring those numbers to the board. For this event only, staff used a total of 637 tons of road salt. So that's equivalent to 5.5 tons per mile of township maintained roads. 3,800 gallons of calcium chloride. This calcium chloride helps keep the snow from freezing when the temperatures dip below 20, because salt can only work to a certain temperature. So that's nearly 33 gallons per mile of township maintained roads. So a lot of product was used in that first weather event in January that I wanted to just bring to everyone's attention. It was a big one. And also, in the month of January, 105 dead or diseased trees were removed and or chipped, including Christmas trees. For litter, the litter crews picked up 11 signs that were placed illegally, 146 bags of trash, 12 shopping carts, and 8 tires. Lastly, I'm almost done. The staff would like to give a big thanks to the Colerain Community Association for their cleanup efforts throughout the 2025 year. They collected over 650 bags of trash, as well as other items such as tires, hubcaps, and the like. They recorded over 250 volunteer hours. So without them, also with our litter crews, and then also the resident that helped during his recovery, Colerain would be a little bit dirtier place, so we just want to thank them for their efforts.
And I wanted to thank the road crew for 16-hour days and the staff that took all the calls from all the people that were in dire straits. And I feel bad for some of the calls that we had, but we do not snow remove, we just snow plow. And I know some of the curbs of people's driveways, so I apologize that people couldn't get out, but we just plow, we don't snow remove. But,
yeah, and it's challenging when
yes.
a majority of our township roads are dead ends. There's nowhere to push it
Right,
to.
right.
So our drivers make the best decision possible.
So our
And
staff
it's a
had,
tough decision.
yes, our staff had to
We'll
take a
take
lot of
right alongs
calls,
if
yes,
anyone
and
wants to
yes, they
see
did a
what
great
the
job.
troubles they go through, it's pretty intense, so thank you.
I think they did a fantastic job, and for instance, my street, nobody got off the street, so there was only one place to plow. I mean, that's a little frustrating at times.
And I do want to compliment Jeff, because I was up here on the Thursday and he ordered the calcium chloride, and he also made arrangements if our tanks ran out of gas, where we could get some other gasoline, which worked out wonderful. So I think kudos to you for your forethought of.
Well, actually, it's just a really big shout out to the school district that they were willing to partner with us. It was one of those conversations that we had. If we run short on fuel, y'all have all these buses that aren't being used, so wouldn't it be great if we could, we reimburse them for using their fuel, but use your fuel if we run low, and they were more than willing to accommodate. So it was a good example of a partnership between the township and schools.
I don't
Thanks
have
for
any
everything
other
else.
questions.
All right, next report will be given by Development Director Miller.
And we get our handouts.
Got a handout. I printed a break for you, Kathy.
I
You
love
don't
it.
need your glasses.
Nope.
So we had 3 BZA cases in January, 5 zoning commission cases. Some of those were the zoning resolution text amendments that you had today. We had a total of 34 zoning permit applications that came through. Notably, we had a total estimated cost of $3,013,366. So it seems to be about the average right now. And then IHOP's doing an $850,000 facade improvement on theirs. So
850.
850 at IHOP.
When does that start?
I'm not sure, but you can still get your Grand Slam.
I was gonna say, that'll be quite
That's Denny's.
that's quite an amount
That is a lot, yeah.
that's probably includes a remodel of the store.
We heard any word about when Epic's opening?
So Epic Entertainment is finalizing all of their inspections. We were supposed to meet up there today and have kind of a walkthrough, and that got postponed, I think, till Friday or maybe Thursday. And so there's a soft opening that's going to be happening to do training with employees. And then maybe next week or week after, we could have a good grand opening.
Good,
So we'll
good.
make sure we announce everybody. Interesting note is, and it's in the news, that there is a chain of similar facilities called
Urban Air.
Urban Air. Thank you. It's right there. Very, very similar with indoor electric go-karts, trampoline park, climbing walls, arcade, some, just family fun. Urban Air has got a massive expansion going on across the country, almost doubling from high 200 to 300, I think they're adding 174 locations.
Okay.
And so it seems to say that there is some popularity, and maybe this one could do well. So we're certainly optimistic for them and us.
The parking lot was filled, the slide next to the Dave and Buster's in Tri-County, incredible, $28 for 90 minutes to take your kids there, and they love it. So I think there's a high need for this kind of, fun and entertainment for our kids.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. And I'll keep my remarks brief. I just want to give an additional shout out to our roads crew. I mean, those folks in yellow really busted their tails over the past month and a half, really weathering these storms and making sure that as many folks could get to and from where they need to get to as safely as possible. And usually when everybody's hunkering down, they're the ones that show up. And so just big kudos and shout out to them for all their hard work. And unless there are questions, that will conclude administrative reports.
Thank you very much, Jeff. And the next item is trustees report matter. Kathy?
I'm really just fast. First, I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day week. And Helen, I didn't know if you want to say anything. I thought you were going to come up and talk about our composting. You can, go zero. Is that what? Yeah. Go zero. So at the spring composting, the township has been composting all your lovely waste, food waste, and so now we're going to sell it. So you can go online, and there's a discount code for SPR 26 with a 20% discount with that code. And I think we're going to start the week of April 16th selling compost bags. So put your orders in. So they've worked hard to get this endeavor together, and so hopefully we can start using it.
And when you said that, that reminded me, if anybody's looking for fun Valentine's Day cards that are themed around local government services, Helen put some of those together. They've got great punny statements. So, no.
That sounds like some solid marriage advice, Jeff. I'll have to get
Yes.
a government card.
You can get government Valentine's Day cards related to Colerain Township. So,
Okay, good.
Thank
Good.
you, Helen.
Jeff. Let me know how that works out at home. Is there any of Matt?
Sure. Just really brief. Just thank you for everybody that dug us out of this storm and kept us safe when we were home off of school. Fantastic to have some days off. And then we were hit again. And I know that sometimes I see the post. It's very difficult. The politics involved with calling a day off school is so incredibly stressful for these folks. Just thank you for what you do, because they never do it right for half the people. They shouldn't be off. They should be on a delay. And in my day, we swam through snow drifts to get to school. We live in a much different world than we did even when I was in grade school in the 80s, when I can maybe remember University of Cincinnati being off once, and it might have been in like 79 or something when the entire city was frozen. But there's so many more complications now involved, and I know that they try to make decisions with the best interest of the students, the staff in mind, and it's difficult to do, and it's not always popular. And there are times when they'll call a delay with the idea that later we're probably going to call off, but we want to see what happens. Now, for their part, the weather has gotten much better. The weather people is predicting what will happen and when it'll start. I think they were a little late with the last one. It was maybe 2 or 3 hours late, but when it came down, it started coming down and it didn't stop. And I was all gung-ho because we have a new snow blower and I got to use it, but I could only use it for like 2 feet before I didn't know where to put the snow. So I understand what the drivers went through, because I'm like, I have nowhere to put the rest of this. But thank you so much for all the hours that folks put in for that. And I think it was very impressive, the job that they did. Thank you.
And just for those that don't know, a little explanation of how it works. Our Public Works Department does the streets that are Colerain Township streets, which most of our streets, I'd say 99% of them, are subdivisions, and a lot of them end in a cul-de-sac. So the production that our drivers have is different than a county driver or an ODOT driver that's pushing snow out on the highway, where they can go along at 25 miles an hour and clear a mile of road every 3 minutes. When our drivers pull in and out of these subdivisions, it just takes a little bit of additional time. So I appreciate the patience of so many of our residents. And when they see the snow fly, well, why isn't my street done yet? It just takes us a little bit longer. I got some calls from July Court, from from some other streets. Why isn't my street done? Well, and I realize not everybody has room to get their cars off the street, but if there's snow predicted and if you can get your car off the street, you'll be a lot better off for it because your car won't be banked in by snow push from the snowplow. So I think our people did a great job. Some other items, one for Chief Cordy. I did have a citizen call about a speed study that we're currently doing on one of our streets, and I mentioned I'd have somebody from the PD give them a call. When all this snow melts, which a lot of it did today, that's when things look the worst. You've got water everywhere, the grass is brown, sometimes some trash that's on the ground that hasn't been picked up in 3 weeks might materialize. We'll be out there to do what we can as soon as the ground dries up a little bit. It's really not the safest thing in the world to be out trying to have our litter crews out picking up stuff when there's conditions like we're having today. Thank you for your nice words, Mr. Reeves. The folks over on Coogan and Chopin, there was none of the cars ran into each other, but I understand there was quite a traffic snarl over there during the snow. I did get a call from a gentleman that I referred to, Mr. Miller, that's interested in putting a business on Galbraith Road. I got another compliment that Colerain does significantly better than Green Township on their snow clearing. And since I know Frank does not watch our meetings, he'll never hear that comment.
I can let him know to.
I give out my phone number all the time, 404-3057. I got a call that I have never gotten in my years of doing this. And I appreciate Mr. Weckbach's quick response. There's a little bridge towards the end of Hubble Road at the 5000 block, and I had a resident that lives there say there's a big crack opening up, and that could turn into something really bad. Just through working with Jeff, within 3 hours, we had somebody from the Hamilton County Engineers Office out there that said, yes, there's some cracks in the surface that have opened up, but the bridge was structurally okay. And so I really appreciate your help in getting that answer so quick, because we can't have school buses or trash trucks going over, or automobiles for that matter, going over something like that. We had a resident here 2 months ago to talk about her sign at Bushwhackers on Cheviot Road, which got creamed by a automobile, and it's taken her a while to work things out with the insurance company. I would encourage my two fellow trustees to kind of keep in touch with her. We need to get her back up and running as quick as we can. And the last comment I would make, and I'm sure Matt and Kathy might have the same feeling, I'm very grateful for the opportunity that the people of this township have given the three of us to be up here doing this. We're just three people in the long history of this township, but I really enjoy the work, and I'm thinking Matt and Kathy do too. So.
Absolutely, thank you.
We do want to put out there, we do not do Colerain Avenue. That is ODOT. That's where a lot of my calls came from. Who's doing Colerain Avenue? So we look much better than Hamilton or ODOT.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
ODOT does 275 and Colerain Avenue and I guess Cross County.
Maybe probably Hamilton Avenue as well.
And
Hamilton Avenue. The county does, Pippin, Galbraith, Blue Rock, the roads that take you places. And our roads are our subdivision streets where there's a greater concentration of residents, where the driveways are 75 feet apart, and it just takes a different amount of time to do those. But thank you to everyone who's helped our residents out in the last couple of weeks. And with that, we'll go to new business.
Yes, Trustee Younger, the first items of new business are presented by the Police Department.
All right, item A is a resolution declaring nuisance and ordering abatement. This resolution allows for the removal of uncontrolled vegetation and refuse at the following properties: 9651 Dunraven, 3192 Elkhorn, 3459 Holly Glen, 3095 Lapland, 10961 New Market, 2733 Roosevelt, 2610 Sandhurst, 10214 Storm Drive, and I recommend the adoption of the resolution.
I motion we adopt the resolution declaring nuisance and ordering abatement as described by the chief at those addresses.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'll second, but is the 3905 is the one we condemned? I saw the pictures of that one.
Are you talking Lapland?
Or Lapland, 30.
There's two of them that are condemned, and I don't
Oh, I saw those pictures. That's just disgusting.
feel like that's across the street from one of them, but
Okay.
it also could be one of them.
Okay.
So it's
Wow,
right in that
that's
area.
bad.
Is there any other discussion?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Item B is a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicle at 2733 Roosevelt Drive. At this address, there is a 2013 gray Chevrolet Cruze with Ohio plate JSE 2935. Recommend adoption of the resolution.
I'll motion to declare a junk and motor vehicle 2733 Roosevelt Drive.
I'll second.
Discussion? None. Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Item C is a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicles at 2984 Sheldon Avenue. At this address, there are two vehicles, first being a 2006 green Honda Accord with Ohio plate GWM 6558, and the second is a 2013 gray Chevrolet Cruze with no tag. Recommend adoption of the resolution.
I'll motion to declare a junk and motor vehicle at 2984 Sheldon Avenue.
I'll second Matt's motion. Is there any discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Item D is a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicle at 8755 Planet Drive. At this address, there is a 2019 black Kia Forte, Ohio KJH 8425. Recommend adoption of the resolution.
Motion to adopt a resolution declaring junk and motor vehicle 8755 Planet Drive.
Second.
Discussion?
None.
None. Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Item E is a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicle at 10018 Regency Court. At this address, there is a 2014 blue Dodge Charger with Ohio KMC 8826. Recommend adoption of the resolution.
Motion to adopt the resolution declaring junk and motor vehicle at 10018 Regency Court.
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Item F is a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicle at 10961 New Market Drive. At this address, there is a gray 2000 BMW 328i with Ohio plate HOH 1187. Recommend adoption of the resolution.
I'll motion to adopt a resolution declaring junk and motor vehicle 10961 New Market Drive.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Item G is a resolution declaring property as vacant registrable property at 2725 John Gray. The Curb Review Board, the Code Enforcement Review Board met, held a case, had their hearing, and have the recommendation that the Board of Trustees declare this property as vacant for it to be registered, fees assessed. And again, that address is 2725 John Gray Road.
I'll motion to declare property as a vacant registrable property on 2725 John Gray Road.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Baker?
Number.
2725 John Gray Road. 2725 John Gray Road.
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
You want me to slow down?
We're getting the work done here.
All right, item H, motion to authorize the township administrator to execute a purchase agreement with Cellbrite for digital forensic software. So this allows us to use Cellbrite, which is what our criminal investigative unit uses to utilize digital forensic software to lawfully extract, decrypt, and analyze data from mobile phones, computers, and cloud storage. With all of this software, just to point it out, you still need a search warrant to execute and go through, but this is what allows us to actually execute the search warrants. The one-year agreement is $10,715, and I recommend adoption of this motion.
I'll motion to authorize the township administrator to execute a purchase agreement with Cellbrite, Inc. for digital forensic software.
I will second Matt's motion. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I actually forgot during your report to congratulate you guys on the quick arrest and the stabbing on,
Burgundy Courts.
Yeah, it's Prime Apartments.
yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know it was renamed. Okay, sorry. It'll always be Burgundy Courts.
Is there any other discussion on that item?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Last item in new business for public safety is a first reading of a resolution adopting a policy for redaction fee for law enforcement cameras. First reading, so we're seeking feedback from the board. No action is required tonight, but essentially this was something that the General Assembly started to allow townships to charge for back in late 2024. We wanted to wait a little while to see how this was flowing through the rest of the state, and so this resolution is modeled not only after what other agencies have done, but also in a look at what several different attorneys have put out as best practices. It's gone through our legal counsel's review, and if this were to be adopted, it would allow for us to charge up to the state maximum for body camera redaction. There is a ton of work that goes into this. In fact, when these requests come through, it tends to bog down the police department's administrative side quite a bit. And I think the purpose and the reason that these rules exist aren't to penalize families and victims, and so they are exempt under this policy. But it's actually just to make sure that if there are other folks out there that are using this for commercial gain, that we're receiving some compensation for our time. So there are a lot of YouTubers and different groups like that that are out monetizing body camera footage publicly. Well, that takes a great amount of time and resources on our end, and so this is just one way that we can recoup some of those dollars. As this is constructed, you have to leave a deposit with us before we start the work on the redaction fee. That is consistent with other agencies. That ensures that we don't go through, do all this work, and then somebody says, you know what, I don't want it anymore, and we don't get paid. So having said all that, we're happy to entertain any questions that you all have. But again, this is just a first reading tonight.
This isn't a question, but it's normally $75 an hour.
Yes, 70.
75 an hour, 750 max.
Yes, and so I
Last
have been
week.
back there when they were, it's not a simple process, and it's cumbersome, and it does take a lot, so.
If I can explain it just briefly. So our process, it does use AI to do it to help speed this up. But then you have to go back and correct the AI because it's not always right. So this is a process where we don't have a standalone employee that does this yet. We're going to have a part-timer that's going to start to try to do this, that's going to focus on as new task. But otherwise, it's all been controlled and done by one of our clerks, and she mostly has to do it on overtime. So we are obligated for every request as long as it fits within a scope to provide it. So we are currently about 45-ish requests behind on the body camera, because that's how long a lot of these take. So about for every hour of body camera that has to get redacted, it takes about an hour to redact it. So for every hour of body camera, an hour is worth. We have one request that just came in last week that's requesting, they had 3 different officers and they gave random dates and all the videos on those dates. Well, that's just a fine enough scope that we have to comply. There was a request also in the same for 24 hours of our front window camera, and we have to go through and do all 24 hours of that. So this is, and this individual is not a victim of a crime. It's not nothing like that. It's, I don't know the purpose, and I'm not going to speculate, but it really comes down to is there's a lot of time that's associated with this, and if this is a way that we can at least help compensate the department for the costs that we are putting into it, because it's extreme. Just the AI software itself is about $11,000 alone to Axon. This is going to get worse. We need to get ahead of it.
And the big thing to keep in mind is as cameras get better, that means they add more frames, and we actually have to go through frame by frame to make sure that if it's a license plate, a juvenile, somebody not related to the crime, that their identity is redacted. And so you're going frame by frame, and so the nicer the camera, the more frames there are, and so that just creates an even bigger burden as technology gets better.
So please, any questions?
No, but so that folks know, this is a first reading, and this will come back at
the
maybe
March
our
meeting.
next meeting to debate and consider this.
Yes. So naturally, if you all have any other reactions or things that you'd like to see included, excluded, this would be a great time to discuss some of it too, but otherwise we'll bring it back in March.
Do we know how many hours, I guess you request it by hour? Or fill it by hour, by minute, or how's it?
It's by hour, and it's up to 10 hours is what you're allowed to charge under current state law.
Do we know how many hours were requested the last calendar year?
We don't track by how many hours, and that does fluctuate based upon the type of things that are there. So that's going to be a hard one to be able to guess and be able to speculate that we need this many hours per year to be able to help justify full-time, part-time, or anything like that. That's going to be hard for us to really narrow down.
So I get a sense this is a really big number of things that we had to, records requests for body cams that we had to produce, and I think it would be helpful if we had some idea how much, because you just said 3 officers from their shift. That's, what are we looking at there, at least 30 hours of,
So that one, we put it all together, and Lieutenant Middendorf, luckily, the person just took a dart and picked dates on the calendar. Most of those days, those officers that they requested were off. So it really worked out in our benefit. So the videos that were actually recorded, of all that were recorded for that day, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of only about 4 hours for
Okay.
those. So we're looking at about 28 hours total for that one request that we have to redact.
so that's one request of 28 hours, and you're 45 behind, which indicates to me that the number in an annual basis is in the thousands.
There's a lot of work here.
Yeah, okay.
And anyone that wants to see that policy, if you go online to our meeting, it's attached, it's policy 3.14, and it will come up at our next meeting.
Yes. Thank you, Board. The next item will be presented by Assistant Administrator Mays.
Welcome back.
The item on the agenda under Public Services is a motion to accept the 2025 road mileage certification. Information on this item can be found on page 92 of your agenda packet. And this is an annual tradition that we go through with the county. This is a signed mileage certification submitted to ODOT per the Ohio Revised Code, section 4501.04. The form is prepared by the county engineer and reflects all of the changes to the total mileage for Colerain Township. At the end of 2025, the total mileage certified for the township is 116.396 miles. Staff recommendation is an adoption and approval of the motion.
Did we gain a few miles there?
We gained about 0.3.
0.3, okay.
I motion we accept the 2025 road mileage certification,
I'll second that.
and these would be the miles that we are pushing snow on.
Yes.
And they're all subdivisions, and it's why it takes a different amount of time than a high-production plow going down the highway.
We can't go 35 miles an hour straight, so.
So, any other discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The next items will be presented by Development Director Miller.
All right, so what you have is
I'm trying to figure it. It's
3 motions in front of you to set public hearings, so just
He's-
rehearse a little bit. We held public hearings earlier at the beginning of the meeting. These are on cases that the zoning commission has held. They have recommended the text amendments to you relative to our zoning resolution. And so the 3 that are before you were all held on January the 20th. Text amendments to the zoning resolution. The motion would be to set a public hearing. The first is CZC 25-17 for March the 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. And this would be to consider the text amendments relative to legislative review procedures.
A motion to set a public hearing for March 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. to consider zoning commission case CZC 2517, a text amendment to the Colerain zoning resolution section 641 legislative review procedures.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Next is CZC 2519. This is a text amendment to the zoning resolution on regulations for signage. There was a conference that our senior planner, David Peters, recently attended and came away with some recommendations that we ensure that our sign rules are accurate and they are content neutral. So we're not reviewing somebody's sign permit with a potential bias and a First Amendment challenge that could be posed for that. So that's what these are. This again was the January 20th zoning commission meeting. Recommendation was 5-0 for approval. So recommendation for you is set the public hearing.
Motion to set a public hearing for March 10th, 2026, at 6 p.m. to consider zoning commission case C.I.C. 2519, text amendment to the Colerain Township zoning resolution, section 4.8 signage.
Second?
Discussion? None, Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Last motion is for CZC 2520. That's a recommendation from the zoning commission to a zoning resolution text amendment relative to use-specific substandards. And that public hearing, again, March the 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
A motion that we set a public hearing for March 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. to consider zoning commission case CZZ 25-20, text amendment to the Colerain Township zoning resolution, Article 3, use-specific substandards.
A second?
Any discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Last item is a motion to authorize the township administrator to enter into a development agreement with organization F.W. Green Investments LLC for an adult-use cannabis dispensary at 9880 Colerain Avenue.
Motion to authorize township administrator to execute an agreement with F.W. Green Investments LLC for an adult-use cannabis dispensary at 9880 Colerain Avenue.
A second.
Discussion?
I hope that this one works out.
I did go up and look at the site. It's pretty tight in there. I've looked at the development agreement. It calls for that this would be in the best interest of the general health, safety, and welfare of the township. I come from a very safety-intensive industry, and so I'm not a fan. The other concern I have with this is it talks about getting paid and changes in state law, but I don't see a remedy in here if we would not be paid. It is a LLC and they're leasing space, so I don't think we could attach a lien to the property, maybe just the fixtures. And then there's with the ORC 379630, which is activities prohibited near schools, churches, libraries, playgrounds, or parks. There is no formal school there, I guess, recognized by the state. There is a little educational center there for, school-age people to come in and get extra education in that, and it's right next door. I'm guessing this is the place that's right next to Outback.
That is correct. It's former H&R Block.
Okay, so I did go up and then look at it. I have no other comments.
Yeah, so to maybe address a couple of those, if there was non-payment by the individual, there's kind of two built-in areas here. One is the term of the agreement, in which case the agreement would be able to be voided, which would then lead us down a path of zoning, improper zoning on the space. So then there are court remedies that way. The other is you could just simply take action against them in a court of law for failure to abide by the terms of the agreement. And so those would be the two remedies, because to your point, there's nothing in there about liens or anything of that effect that we could just unilaterally do on our own accord.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
No.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The next three items will be presented by Assistant Administrator Mays.
Hello, Board. For the administration items, the first motion is a motion to issue a request for proposals, or RFPs, for solid waste and recycling services. Information on this item can be found on page 99. The township's current contract for solid waste and recycling services is scheduled to expire at the end of April of this year. It is the best interest of the township to solicit competitive proposals to ensure the continued efficient and cost-effective provision of these services. The proposed RFP process will allow qualified vendors to submit proposals in accordance with township specifications and applicable laws, with the invitation to bid commencing on February 11th, 2026, which is tomorrow, obviously, and closing on March 2nd, 2026. Staff recommendation is an adoption and approval of the motion.
I motion that we issue a request for proposals for solid waste and recycling services.
I'll second.
And I did read through this, and my recollection from 5 years ago is the partner township had come up with an additional fee to be added to their bills and ours, and it turned into a situation where I didn't feel like our residents should have to pay that fee. And I believe it was for a communicator, that if a resident had a issue with the vendor, that they would call this third-party service and they would negotiate the issue, whether it was a missed pickup or whatever. And I would just as soon call the vendor directly, because you're gonna get a lot quicker service that way. They might be able to radio out to one of their trucks, hey, you missed such and such a street for a mechanical reason or whatever. And so I do not have a taste for that additional fee that I guess the other partner township charged over the last 5 years.
So we did have a pre-RFP posting discussion with Springfield Township, and we continue to extend that. We do not want to offer that service. We'll take care of it in-house, which we have been doing for the last 5 years without any issue. So that would be Glenna and myself. We've been taking care of any calls for service, which are very few. We probably receive one a month and that's just, we receive about 12 a year. So it could be 2 in 1 month because of the same route.
And the current vendor's been very responsive. The other thing I was looking at was the current vendor, we are the last mile to their landfill, and you know that it's Rumpke and that. The other township is not the last mile. All of their materials are coming through Colerain, whether it's along Struble Road or up or down Colerain Avenue. I was wondering if the board would favor having an alternate bid for just Colerain or Colerain and Springfield together, so there'd be another page to respond to the bid, because if the bid for Colerain comes in a little bit lower than the combined bid for the other two, I'd be inclined to do what's in the best interest of our residents, and that would be just accept the Colerain contract. I don't know what the other two trustees think about something like that.
Best deal, yeah.
Yeah, best deal for me too, yes.
So is it possible before you put this RFP out to add a,
Yes, to be clear, the one in the packet is just the draft, which was the one we used previously.
Okay.
So it is open to any changes or edits, and I serve at the pleasure of the board, so we can certainly put that.
so to be clear, there'll be a page where you can bid just Colerain, or you can bid Colerain in Springfield Township. And they're wonderful neighbors and great partners in a lot of things, but I need to provide what's best for our residents. And in fact, we're the ones that are hosting a very large landfill, and whatever perceived issues there are with that, they don't so much deal with those in Springfield Township as we do. So if we can find a lower price for our residents, I'm all for that, so.
Part of Springfield Township does, Struble Road is part of.
Right, but the last mile coming
but
over this
still,
way
yeah.
is us, so. Thank you for putting it together. Is there any other discussion?
Nope.
Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The next item is a discussion regarding the energy aggregation program. Staff is seeking direction regarding the energy aggregation program regarding the search for an energy broker. If the trustees decide to change brokers, that decision will need to be made at the March 10th meeting, which is coming up in a month, as electric aggregation rates need to be locked in for the June contract renewal in March, April of 2026.
I was just going to say, so essentially we're seeking feedback from you all if you want us to continue operations as normal, put something out to bid, or do something else with the program.
I'd like to put something out to bid. My electric bill last month was $702. I just got it for this month, $729. So I think, I don't know what's going on. And I did have a call from a resident. They were illegally put on another program. They did not abide by it, and their bill, they got a $2,000 bill from Duke. So there's something we have to.
So just quick PSA on that note, because we see this a lot. Right. Aggregation companies, suppliers can switch you over if they know your account and your address. Mm-hmm. If they're at your house, they already got your address. So never show them your account number, because that's the easiest way for them to switch you over, and then that creates problems. So basically, though, but that is a separate issue from the broker. The broker is the individual group that goes out and actually negotiates on the competitive market on our behalf to try to lock in rates for our electric or gas supply.
I'd like some true negotiations.
I did take myself up to the Ohio Township Association meeting last week, and there are a lot of folks in that type of aggregation negotiating business, and I think I forwarded one or two of those to you, and I would leave it up to you to, gather as much information as possible, and I know everybody's utility bills are pretty high, and I help out a family member that lives in another municipality, and I help him with his bill, and I notice his rates are a lot lower than ours, and so maybe it's time to have a look at things.
Sure.
So, any other discussion on the energy aggregation program?
So to be clear, it sounds like we should put out an RFQ of some sorts, and we will likely then have a contract with a recommendation at the next board meeting, because our timing is going to get very, very tight on this. So appreciate that.
And I talked to you separately about this for RFQ. I mean, it's so important that it's not lowest, but best, because some of these operators are not quite up to standard.
Sure.
Yeah, I like this particular opt-in and opt-out at any time, but you have to be to go and look at your bill and see what what's going on and to opt in and out if you really are going to try to save money, but I like that idea of the program for people to do that.
And anyone that wants to see this draft document, it is on our website, and you can look at it.
And to be clear, for this discussion, I'm getting direction from the board to post an RFQ this week okay, perfect.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, I'll move to the final item, which is a resolution approving ODOT project 120861, which is the Springdale Road Sidewalks Phase 2, which is this side of Springdale Road. This item can be found on page 147. The township received a grant from ODOT for the construction of sidewalks on Springdale Road from Pool Road to Yellowwood Drive. This piece of legislation is required by ODOT before submitting the plan package. The state is anticipating the plan package to be submitted by 8/31/26 and will likely go out to bid in late 2026, early 2027. Staff recommendation is an adoption and approval of the resolution.
A motion we would approve the resolution for ODOT project PID 1208613 Springdale Road sidewalks.
I'll second that.
And I'm looking at this document online, and did you say that we've secured a grant for this, or we're applying for one? Because it says $0 on here.
Right.
So upfront cost for us is $0 for right now until they sell the project, and then that's when we get a final number. So we will come back to the board with a final contract.
And we have received one grant already, and we're working on securing additional grant funding as well. Timing is important on this.
Is there any other discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orridge?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, Board. We have no old business, but we have several consent items, which I will read. First is a promotion of a full-time firefighter. That is Benjamin Kakey at $24.38 per hour. New hire of a police officer, Anthony Pope, at $38.10 per hour. New hire of a police officer, Jacob Hornback, at $42.46 per hour. A reclassification of a police officer, Andrew Noguera, at $45.72 per hour. A contract that I executed with Plattenberg to prepare a tax credit on our behalf for $1,150, and a donation acceptance in fire and EMS from Synfed Credit Union in the amount of $500, and I would recommend adoption of all consent items.
I'll motion to accept approval of consent items.
I'll second.
And thank you from Synfed for the $500 check. It's wonderful.
And you may not know the answer to this, but the contract with Plattenberg for the geothermal tax credit, the tax credit's probably worth more than...
Tax credit is estimated to be about $800,000 that we will receive back. So
Okay, well, that's
$1,150 is well worth the
11
investment.
$1,150, is that okay, that's just the expenditure, because with something like that would...
No, that's the credit. The expenditure related to the system, which was part of the project.
$1,150, which is why you're allowed to
Yes.
bring that to the
Yep.
board. When the grant arrives, is that something we will have to accept, or willingly, of course?
Since it's a tax rebate, just like your tax return, it would just get receipted into the appropriate fund at that time.
Well, let us know when that happens.
If it's anything like our last rebate, we are still waiting on that from over a year ago. I think there have been some issues with the federal government and IRS, so they're not as fast.
Which one was that?
Related to the solar panels. There was $30,000 that we're waiting on a check from the federal government for that.
Okay, so we, go ahead.
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
And the next item is fiscal office report.
Thank you, Board. I don't really have a report prepared, but I did want to talk about, when I was also attending the OTA meeting this past week. I sat in on one class that Mr. Conover was presenting to, so that was pretty neat. But that also had to do, part of that class had to do with the new fees for redaction of body cams. And I believe that that was part of either House Bill 96 or House Bill 315, one of the two.
315.
315. They went over both of those. And, I mean, it appears to have, that there a lot of work went into that. And I think it'll be a very good thing, for the township, not as a moneymaker, but to try to reel some of the issues in with, all the requests that are out there just for profit. So I thought it was very well done, and that's really all I have. So.
Thank you.
Is there any need for an executive session?
Yes, I would request a motion that we go into executive session in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121.22G8 to consider confidential information related to specific business strategy and to discuss negotiations with political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, and in accordance with 121.22G3 to discuss pending or imminent litigation, and in accordance with 121.22G2 to discuss the sale of township property at competitive bidding.
I motion we would go into executive session for the reasons detailed by Mr. Weckbach.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mr. Baker?
Ms. Orich?
Yes.
Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Do you anticipate any action on any of these?
I do not anticipate any action.
Okay. You're welcome to stay. We are going to go to executive session at 7:46 p.m. and we will be back. It's 8:46 p.m. on February 10th. We've returned from executive session. Mr. Baker, please call the roll.
Ms. Orich? Here. Mr. Unger?
Here.
Mr. Waller?
Here.
Mr. Weckbach, is there anything to report from executive session?
Nothing to report.
I motion that we would adjourn the meeting at 8:47 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
Please call the roll, Mr. Baker.
Orich? Mr. Unger?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned at 8:47 p.m. on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026.